Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Juan Garcia, Ermac77, reporting for Ninja Pop News. Today's topic, it's pretty much going to be formal and quick. I want to bring up the pricing in video games. Excuse me. As we all know, this generation video games cost $60. Well, Xbox and Sony, Microsoft and Sony, their games are $60 a pop. And next generation, it looks like it's going to be $70 a pop. I don't agree with that. I've never actually agreed with the $60 pricing. I've always thought it was stupid. That's why I'm very selective on the video games that I purchase and the video games that I rent. Because, let's face it, I'm not spending $60 on Aliens Colonial Marines. That's a terrible fucking game. But I digress. The MSRP pricing, I think, really hit around 2001 with the release of the PlayStation 2, because from what I know, the PlayStation 2 was the console that actually had a real based pricing. The games were about $50, $45 to $50, and then the Xbox came along, and the games were about $45 to $50 as well. And the Nintendo GameCube were just a little bit more expensive, but Nintendo usually always had a more expensive console. Not console, more expensive game. Their games were usually always more expensive. With the Nintendo, I remember when the Nintendo came out, the Super Nintendo to be more specific, I would go to Toys R Us or Kmart, or Walmart, or Ventures. Yeah, Venture doesn't even exist in Chicago anymore. That shows you how old I am. And I remember going there, and the cartridges were about $80, $90. You know, it was up there, and I was like, holy shit. You know, thank God I had a Sega Genesis with all my other friends. And the same thing with the N64. The games were good, but it was just expensive. And I think at the end of the day, that's one of the reasons why they ended up losing that console war. And that's also one of the reasons why Nintendo has been on this cumbersome limp of trying to get back to number one for so long, and they really haven't had a chance to. But Nintendo's failures is a topic for a different discussion. Back to the pricing of video games. As we all know, video games cost about $60 to $65 right now, and it's not counting DLC. I'm going to be one of the guys that tells you this straight up. DLC, when you purchase a game and you have certain specific things like DLC, your game isn't necessarily complete. The game was never finished in the first place. But that's only for certain games. Like, a good example of it would be THQ. THQ's Saints Row 3. Saints Row 3rd. Everyone remembers when that came out. It was such a good game. It was a very weird game, and I liked it. I mean, one of the weirdest reasons I liked it is because of that dildo baseball bat that you got to kill people with. I thought that was hilarious. But all the DLC that they came out that was tagged onto it was stuff that they took out the game, and they overpriced it. And they overpriced all of it. And it was also one of the first times we actually saw microtransactions in the video game. The DLCs were basically microtransactions. Pay $10 for this this dildo bazooka launcher. You know, pay $10 for this gun that shoots out piranhas. You know, a lot of the most surreal items got overpriced, and that's probably one of the reasons why THQ went into bankruptcy. But that's a different topic for another discussion. Do I believe that video games should be $60? No. Not when we're getting DLC. One of the biggest examples that I think everyone should look at would be Call of Duty. Now, I'll just say this straight up. me saying this and you guys listening to this and watching this, you're probably going to be like, what does it matter? I like Call of Duty anyways. I'm going to end up buying a fucking game anyways. That's totally understandable. If you want to be oblivious as to what goes on in the gaming industry and how you're being robbed of your money, that to me is totally fine. But if you want to take the time to listen and just think about it for a minute, then that's even better. Call of Duty costs $60. The DLC, you get at least 3 to 4 map packs, which are ranged at $15 a pop. So you're probably looking at, after the $16 plus the $15 a pop, you might be you're looking at over $100 and over $100 that you just spent on this game. And I just find that to be totally wrong. I mean, I just find it to be absolutely ridiculous. And it even goes down to I just don't understand it. I mean, Call of Duty is already the most lucrative, horrible game out there. I mean, Call of Duty 4 was good, Black Ops 2, but that's a different topic. Especially, and then there's other games that have this issue. I mean, do you really want to spend $60 on a game that really isn't $60? For instance, let's look at Enslaved, Journey to the West, or Odyssey to the West. A game that was developed by Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory is a great developer, / publisher. They made a very good game, but the issue is the game was $60 when it first came out, and nobody bought the game. And look what ended up happening. A few months later, it was $14.99 in a bit. The MSRP pricing for these games and the way the developers decide to price these games really does need to change. And something that a lot of gamers need to understand, us talking with our mouths does not stop a developer or a publisher from doing what it is that they're going to do. The developers will listen to us, but the publishers won't. The publishers are just going to be like, no, we're going to go ahead on with this, and you're still going to buy our game. What needs to happen is, instead of us bitching with our mouths, we bitch with our wallets. And that being said, don't buy the fucking game. Just don't buy the game whatsoever. You see the next Assassin's Creed that's going to come out. Obviously, it's going to have bugs, and it's not going to be that good for its first time around, and it's not going to be worth the $60 or $70 that it's going to be. Don't buy it, right that instant, because you're going to be really, really, really dissatisfied when you play that game. You're going to be dissatisfied. That's pretty much the only thing that I can say about it. Instead of talking and bitching to the publishers about this, bitch with your wallets. Just don't purchase the games. I mean, I've heard so many people complaining about, oh, why is this game $60? Why do I have to pay $60 for this and then all the DLC? Don't buy the game. I mean, there are certain games that are absolutely worth $60. Like, for instance, Skyrim. Skyrim is worth every penny. And honestly, I would have paid $20 for all the DLC that's on Skyrim, because it's that good of a game. The same thing goes for Dishonored. The same thing goes for Mass Effect. Yeah, Mass Effect. I like the games that much. The same thing goes for all of those. But for everything else where it's just microtransactions, it just seems to me it just seems absolutely terrible, I will give you this. The only company that really did DLC correct would be Battlefield. Would be EA and DICE. They did a very good job with Battlefield 3. They've supported the game for about, it's almost a year and a half now that they've been supporting this game. The Battlefield Premium was actually something that was very, very beautiful. You paid, $60 for it, and you got all these maps. Now, the Battlefield Premium and Battlefield 3 was something that was very, very, very perfect. And there were no true microtransactions. There was a microtransaction for the game, because if you bought specific DLC, you unlock specific kits. You unlock all the weapons for a specific kit. Yeah, that's a form of microtransaction, but at the same time, look at everything that you're getting with that. You're actually getting an entire pack. That's something that's understandable, and it wasn't like it wasn't like Dead Space 3, where you pay a little bit more money and you could just buy the fucking gun, which I think is absolutely terrible. I thought that was something terrible. I'm a gamer. I like to work for everything that I have in a game. That's the way I work, though. But $60 is too much. $70 is too much. Gamers, fans, guys, girls, sentient aliens, don't talk with your mouths. Talk with your wallets. If you're upset about the last game and that you wasted $60 on it and that you only got $15 back when you traded in at GameStop, the next sequel that comes out, be wary of it. Wait till it comes out used or it's on sale, then pick up that game so you can bitch about it. That's all that's got to happen. Of course, you guys know what to do. Message me on Facebook. Like us, Ninja Pop News on Facebook. Find us on Twitter, Ninja Pop News. Find me on Twitter, Ermac77 with 2 small lowercase i's. Find me on PlayStation Network and find me on my Xbox Live. I'm Juan Garcia, letting you guys know you're not having fun if you don't have a controller.